Okay, let's create a multi-layered animation using sprites. Let's create our master, and we'll make this 720 by 480, and we'll make it transparent. So we created a new image, and let's go get our assets. I'll open, let's see, I have my buildings, and these buildings are much larger than the actual master. So let's go ahead and see if we can resize this image, making sure I have it selected. Image, resize, and we'll shoot for about 50%. So instead of using pixel sizes, we'll go with a percentage, and we'll shoot for 50. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to copy this image, edit, copy, and I'm going to come into here and edit, paste as a new layer. And we'll move that right over there, and we'll name this layer Buildings, and maybe we need another copy of that. So let's edit, paste again as a new layer, and we'll name this layer Buildings 2. And that way I can arrange these any way I see fit. If I want to put this over here, we'll put them right about there, I guess. We'll put this one right about there. Looks like we have a small little city. There we go. And I don't need the buildings anymore, so we'll close that out. Nope. And let's clean this up a little bit. We'll make a little bit of a background. So I'll go to my layer 1 and I'll rename that background. And we'll give that a sky color. I'm going to put that on top just for now. And I'll get my fill bucket. Come over here, and I have a gradient set, gradient, by clicking on that little black triangle there. And I have a sky color. I can change the sky color. We could go with a little bit lighter sky and fill that up. Then I could put that in the background. Or I can make it a little more blue. Let's do that color blue and then that color blue. And we filled that up. Alright. Why don't we make a sidewalk here in front? So let's make a new layer. And we'll call this sidewalk. And I'll use my selection tool. Try to stay away from the preset shapes, even though we're going to draw a big rectangle here. It's much better to use the selection tool. You can have some adverse effects with the preset shapes. So we'll use our selection tool. I'm going to take and make sure anti-aliasing is off. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. Right there. It doesn't matter if I go off the screen, it'll bind itself to the edges of the original image anyways. And let's fill this with a solid color. So let's get our flood fill bucket. We'll come over here, and we need to change this. This is currently a gradient. So we'll click on the black triangle and change it to a solid color. And I could find gray in here, but I'll just click on the solid color chip and just go choose a gray. Click OK and fill that selection. Now to get rid of that selection, we can go up to Selections and select None, or use the shortcut Control D. And we'll put that sidewalk, I think, on top of the buildings layer, and that'll hide any imperfections down there, and we can move it around if we have to. Now you notice that it's only the exact size that we made it. So if you do want to make it bigger, we can use the deformation tool and make it much bigger, and that way when we move it around, we'll hide just the bottom edges of the buildings, and then apply that deformation. Now I think I'm ready to populate my scene with a couple of other goodies. Let's see what we have. Let's open this up and we'll look and see what we have. Oh, we have a tree. Let's get our tree. And the tree is much too big, so I want the tree to fit right about here. Two ways I can do this. I could get my selection tool and kind of see how high this is by using the selection tool, and then looking down here I can see that it's 216 wide by 376 high, and I could say, well, I could base that off of that. So I can come here and say image resize. Let's go for a pixel size of 376 high. It'll automatically adjust the width as long as you have the maintain ratio selected. And now I can copy this, edit, copy, go back to our master image, make sure there's no selections, deselect, and let's edit, paste as a new layer. And there's our tree. And we'll put our tree right about there. Right there. And I don't need the tree anymore, so we'll close that out. And we should rename this layer, layer 4 here. We should rename it tree. And we'll get one more goodie. Let's see here. Let's get our post office box. Where is our post office box? I think I have that on my thumb drive. Sprite strip. I think I have a post office mailbox here. And this is really big. So we'll do the same thing. We want that post office box right about there. And so let's get the selection tool and see about how high we want that. We want that about that, and that's about a 1/16 size shape. And select none. So let's take this and image, resize. We'll base it off a height of 1/16. And then we'll copy it, edit, copy. And then we'll come here and edit, paste as a new layer. And there's our mailbox. We'll put that right about there. Now let's take this mailbox image and get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. And rename this layer 5. Let's name this mailbox. Alright, we might as well save our master, just in case the zombies attack. Let's go ahead and file, save. We'll save this in our Sprite Animation as our Sprite Animation Master. And now I'll go get my sprite strip that I downloaded. And let's see here. I put that in my documents. Sprite Animation. And there's my sprite strip. And I need to get all of these individual images off and into my master. So we have to look at the size first, and it's tough to tell. This is rather large. Now that's a little too big, so I think I'm going to shoot for about 50% of this. So I'm going to resize this image about 50%. So percent of original, 50. Click OK. And now I'm going to use my selection tool, making sure I have anti-aliasing off. And let's just make a selection here. It doesn't matter how far around, as long as it's all transparency data. And we're going to copy that, edit, copy. And then we're going to edit, paste that as a new layer. And there's our little sprite image. Now that might be a little too small. If you feel it's too small, it's not a big deal. You need to make that decision now. And we could undo. And we could also undo this resizing. So I've undone that. And I think that's still a little too big. So instead of 50%, let's resize this only about, well, let's say 80%. Let's see what that does. That's pretty good right there. Let's use that. We'll select this again. Copy. Edit, copy. Come to our master. Edit, paste as a new layer. And there's sprite number 1. Let's label that S1. And just rinse and repeat. We'll go back here. Copy. Paste as layer. I'm using the keyboard shortcuts Control C and Control L up here for paste as layer. So we'll Control C, Control C for copy, come to our master, Control L as layer. And before I get too carried away here, we should start labeling these. Let's take layer 7 and make that S2. Layer 8, make that S3. And just continue. Selection tool, making sure you get everything. Copy, paste as layer. That's S4. And 2 more times here. Copy, paste as layer. That's S5. the last one here, let's do this. Copy and paste as layer. Control L as S6. And we'll name that S6. So I think what I'll do is arrange these. Let's go ahead and arrange these here. And we got something like that. Get the feet out about there. We'll just kind of do the feet. And at this point, I can hide these until I need them. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then there's 1. And what I'm going to do is have this animation. I'm going to have a little sprite run across the screen, and then a smaller version run back across the screen behind the mailbox. So we could take our snapshots of this first if we want. We could do that. Let's minimize this because we're going to use this sprite strip again. Let's go ahead and get one shot with nothing in there. We'll take one screen capture, and I'll go ahead and do that by taking a merged copy. Edit, copy merged. Edit, paste as new image. This is just standard Control V. And this new image, we're gonna save this. Normally I'll leave these as image 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever in sequence. But let's go ahead and name this so we keep track of it. Let's file save this in our Sprite Animation as original scene. We'll save that. That way we have that. Now that's saved, so we don't even need to keep it on the screen anymore. And then let's do our animation. So there's S1, edit, copy, merged, or Control Shift C, and then paste, Control V. There's 3. Put that there. Come back to our master. Let's hide 1, show 2, Control Shift C, paste. Hide 2, show 3, Control Shift C, paste. Master. Let's hide 3, show 4, Control Shift C, paste. Master, and let's hide 4, show 5, Control Shift C, paste. And now we're at 6, so let's hide, show 6, take the snapshot, Control Shift C, and then paste it. And at this point, we're going to have to go get our other sprite. So let's get 1. Let's bring 1 over here. And let's go ahead and get 2. And we'll put 2 right about there. And I don't think we're going to need a 3. So let's hide 6 and 2. And let's take this snapshot, Control Shift C, paste. And then we'll hide 1 and show 2, Control Shift C, paste. And there's the first 10 frames of our animation. And for this next part, I'm going to leave these frames, even though I'm going to hide them all. I'm going to take my sprite strip, and I'm going to make a smaller version of this. So this is 205 high or so. And I want this a small little character running over here, only about, let's say maybe 100. All right, maybe 115, because I do have some space here. So let's resize this. Image, resize. Let's base it off of a height of, let's say 120. And I'm going to mirror it. Image, mirror. Now I have the little sprites running the other way. So let's see what size they are. Let's take a look here. So I have 1. Control C or copy. We're going to paste this as a layer. Let's get rid of our marching ants here by selection, select none. And there's our little sprite right there running. I guess I could match it with that. And we're going to name this layer. We're going to bring this behind the mailbox. We're going to name this copy S1. Oops. Yep, copy S1 and click OK. And let's go ahead and get this guy. Copy, paste as layer. Copy S2. Oops, let the caps lock on. And rinse and repeat. Let's get this third one. Copy, paste as layer. Now, if you're afraid you're going to move the mailbox by accident, go ahead, after you give this the name, go ahead and hide the mailbox. Just hide it, and we should be good. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these. 4, copy, paste as layer, and we'll call that copy S4, and we'll get 5 and 6 here. Copy, paste as layer, so there's 5. And the last one, let's get this. Make sure I have everything selected. Copy, and let's paste as a layer. So we have our little runner. And we'll copy that, or rename that. Sorry, S6. Copy S6. And I can just see my mailbox to make sure I'm showing how to run behind a layer. And let's see, let's move this one over just a little bit. Our feet. And at that point, we can start making our snapshots. So let's minimize this sprite strip. So let's see here, we'll hide 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And we'll start with this frame right there. So we'll make our snapshot. Control Shift C, paste. And we'll come back and hide 1, show 2, Control Shift C, paste, and hide and show, Control Shift C, paste, and then we'll hide that, show, Control Shift C, paste. We'll come back and we'll hide 4, show 5, Control Shift C, paste. And then we'll hide and show 6. Now we'll take this frame, we'll paste it, we'll take our snapshot, and we'll come back up here and let's get 1. We'll put 1 here. Alright, and we'll get 2. And if you think you're going to move the tree, just hide the tree for now. Hide the tree. Matter of fact, we want to bring that tree in front of, just to make sure, should be in front of all of our copies of our sprite, just in case. And let's go ahead and we'll hide it now. Let's go ahead and get 3, and we'll move 3 over to here. And just in case, we'll get 4. We'll move 4. Now the tree, I put the tree in a strategic place. Let's see if it works. Tree should be right about there, so it's going to run behind the tree, so it should be good. So let's go ahead and now hide 4, 3, 2, and 1, and we've made this snapshot. That's right here. So what we'll do here is let's do something fun. Let's take this and we'll go get one more piece of imagery. We'll go get our lightning. And now this lightning's pretty big. How big is this? This is about 489 by 480, and we only want it to be about this high. Let's measure this with our selection tool. It's about 304 pixels high. So we'll select none. So let's resize this image, resize. We'll base it off a height of 304. And let's copy that. And we'll paste it in here as a layer. And we'll move it up here. That might be a little small actually. So we can use the deform tool. I don't like using this, but we can use the deform tool just to bring it down a little bit bigger. And let's apply that. And then using our mover tool, we'll move it back up here. And what I want to do is I'm going to put that, we'll rename that layer lightning. And let's put that on top of everything. And let's take a snapshot of this. Let's put our tree back. So everything's set. We'll take a snapshot of this. Control-Shift-C, paste. And then we'll do a little bit of magic with it. Let's take our S6 layer here, and we'll do something. We'll image, or we'll go to colors, and we'll do negative. How about that? A little zap there. Maybe we'll mirror the lightning. Lightning, how about we image mirror you like that and move it over, and maybe even colorize it just a little bit. We could add a little bit of hue to it. Let's see what it looks like right there. A little bit of saturation. I'll give it a little green tint like that. We could even take our copy of 6, that's our little runner there, and mirror that. We'll flip that right there. Make it look like lightning's doing some crazy stuff. And we'll take a snapshot of that. Control-Shift-C, paste. Alright. And let's do one more thing here. Let's take our little runner and maybe, let's see, effects, we'll put it back to normal color, so we'll negative it back to normal, and maybe we'll do some effects. How about some artistic ones? What about glowing edges? Let's see what that does. Oh, that's kind of fun. We'll do that. Oh, we should take our lightning though, and maybe we can put some artistic effects on that. What about colored edges? What does that do? There we go. Like that. And we'll take another snapshot. Maybe mirror the runner. Image, mirror, put her back. And let's take a snapshot. Edit, copy merged. Edit, paste as new image. There's our frame. And well, I guess we'll do one more. Just because it's going to be fast, it's only 3-4 frames. Let's take the lightning, let's mirror it right there, and we'll negative it there like that. We'll take our little character and let's see, colors, we'll negative that, and we'll take our snapshot, Control-Shift-C, and then paste, Control-V. There's our snapshot. And then what we'll do is we'll come back here. We'll hide the lightning. We have 1 back again, right? So then we'll hide 6. We'll take that snapshot. Control-Shift-C, paste. And rinse and repeat. Hide 1, show 2. Control-Shift-C, paste. And then 3. Let's hide 2, show 3. Edit, copy merged. Edit, paste as new image. Alright. Looks pretty good. And we should have all of our frames. And remember, we have our original scene that we can use as sort of fillers here and there. So now that we have all of our frames, we can get rid of our lightning. Let's save our master in case we need to use it again. So we'll just save our master. We can get rid of that. Now we need to save all of our frames. So let's go ahead and close this one out. And it'll ask us to save it. Yes. And what I usually do is just make another folder, separate folder for my frames. And I'll go in there and I'll save. And we just need to close these out. Enter. Yes. Save. And now I can do it quickly by just hitting the X, using the Enter key for yes, save. Just like this. Close, yes, yes, close. We have all of our frames. We're going to close and save all of these frames. It's nice because they're all in sequence. And this is our original sprite strip. We don't want to save that. No. And we could close this program to free up some memory if we want. But we'll go ahead and we'll launch our animation program. So under JAS Software, Animation Shop, and let's sew these together. We'll use the wizard, Animation Wizard, next, 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 making sure that we're on repeat. You can vary this depending on how many frames you make. That's the speed. Next, add image. So we're going to go into our sprite animation and into our frames. And I'm going to start with the bottom one. Actually, we want our original one too, right? So let's bring that in there. Let's go up a level. I think I saved that in here. Original scene, we'll open that. That'll be frame 1, really. And let's have a little pause. So we'll add a couple of those. And then we'll add all of our other frames. So let's add our frame. So, and I use the shift key to do this instead of doing one at a time. I select the last one, I hold my shift key down and select the first one. And then for some reason it puts them in order. And I can verify they're in order. And if I need to move one, I can move it up or down. And then I think what we'll do is after this image, we'll add the original again. Let's see. Front, original scene. Add original scene. And after I look at the animation, if I want to add an original scene in between where I think where the first runner goes in the foreground and then the runner goes in the background, I can put them in there, but I can put them in there after. Let's take a look. Let's go next. Let's build our animation. Let's view it. Okay, so we do want a little bit of a pause right here. So let's see what frame that is. Let's look at our frame strip here, and we'll say that right about frame, oh, let's see, that's what, 10, and then, or frame 11, sorry, and then frame 12. So at this point, if I want to insert a frame there, I can go up to Animation, Insert Frame from a file, and I'm going to insert it before frame 12. So before frame 12, add file. Let's get the original scene. I'm going to and click OK, and then it puts that extra frame in there before frame 12. That is now our new frame 12. And again, now let's do it again. Animation, insert frame. Let's do it before frame 13. Before frame 13, add file, original scene. Click OK, and just to give it a slightly more delay, we'll insert it again. This is now we have our original frame here, original frame there. Let's do one more before she runs along the background. So before frame 14, animation, insert frame from file, before frame 14, add file, original scene, click OK. Now let's view the animation. View animation. And it's not bad. A little bit of excitement. All right. And to save this animation, let's save it, File, Save. And we'll save this in our Sprite Animation. And this would be as an MNG file. This is the actual project file that'll have all of your files in there, and you'll put your name on it. With layers. And we'll save that. Now, if we want to use this in PowerPoint or for on the web, we need to save it as something other than MNG. And then you would just go File, Save As afterwards. And you can choose a GIF. You can choose an AVI file. The GIFs can be used in PowerPoint or on the web. You could save it as an AVI and then maybe add sounds to it in a video editing program. So there's a lot of options. I hope you enjoyed it.